calm before the storm. For those of us living along the coast, we know this peaceful scene can change dramatically during hurricane season. In recent years, we've seen devastating impacts of hurricanes across our coastal regions.
The difference between tragedy and keeping your family safe comes down to one thing: preparation. And that means it's time to prepare now, not when a hurricane is already on the way.
Hurricane preparation isn't just about boarding windows when a storm is approaching.
It's about having a storm-ready plan for your family, understanding evacuation routes, and assembling supplies well ahead of the storm.
Now, while we can't prevent hurricanes, you can prevent some of their worst impacts. Do that by staying storm ready with us right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
The 2024 hurricane season was one of the most devastating in Tampa Bay's history. 3 major storms, Debbie, Helene, and Milton, left lasting marks on our communities. In early August, Hurricane Debbie made landfall in Florida's Big Bend as a Category 1 storm. Though it didn't directly hit Tampa Bay, the storm's outer bands brought significant rainfall, leading to widespread flooding in Sarasota and surrounding areas. September brought Hurricane Helene, becoming one of the most devastating storms to strike Tampa Bay in a century. The Category 4 storm made landfall on Florida's Big Bend coast with sustained winds of up to 140 miles per hour. The storm also brought unprecedented storm surges, with high water levels reaching up to about 7 feet in some areas. Just weeks after Helene, Hurricane Milton struck as a Category 3 storm, making landfall near Siesta Key, bringing with it winds in excess of 115 miles per hour and a storm surge up to 11 feet. That storm surge inundated coastal areas, causing extensive flooding and damage. Plant City experienced dangerous flooding. The Pinellas Barrier Islands, still recovering from Helene, faced widespread damage once again. In St. Pete, a construction crane collapsed onto the Tampa Bay Times building, highlighting the storm's ferocity. And Tropicana Field, the home of the Tampa Bay Rays, succumbing to the storm's wind, tearing the roof away and leaving the field exposed. Milton caused around $34 billion in damage, making it one of the costliest hurricanes in U.S. history.
As we continue to rebuild, it's still crucial to prepare for future challenges.
Sea surface temperatures this year are running a little cooler than what we had last year, but they're all still above average, creating a breeding ground for tropical storms. Add to that the absence of a dominant El Nino or La Nina pattern, which means we could have a little less wind shear over the Atlantic, potentially allowing more storms to develop. NOAA's outlook for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season predicts an above normal level of activity. The agency says it's forecast a range of 13 to 19 total named storms. Of those, 3 to 5 are expected to be major hurricanes. Researchers at Colorado State University anticipate 17 named storms, including 9 hurricanes, with 4 expected to reach Category 3 or higher. The Weather Channel's forecast expects up to 19 named storms, with again 4 expected to reach major hurricane status. To put it into perspective, the average season typically sees 14 named storms with 3 major hurricanes. We can't stress this enough. Even if it's not a direct hit, you can still get storm surge along the coast. Remember Helene? And wind, rain, and tornadoes can stretch miles inland. And remember, the Atlantic hurricane season officially runs from June 1st through November 30th.
When it comes to preparing for this year's hurricane season, knowing your zone is the first crucial step. You can head to your county's website and put in your address. Our region is divided into evacuation zones based on storm surge risk, not wind speed. Zone A evacuates first and highlights coastal areas most vulnerable to storm surge. Includes Davis Island, Apollo Beach, and the Barrier Islands like Clearwater Beach. Zone B includes slightly higher elevation areas like South Tampa and Shore Acres that are still vulnerable to moderate storm surge. As you move to zones C, D, and E, you start decreasing your risk. But remember, a powerful enough storm can affect all zones. Remember, zones can change from year to year, so make sure you check now. If you have special needs or a pet, you need to look for those shelters and sign up now, not as the storm approaches. It's also time to get your hurricane kit ready to go. You're going to want enough food and water for your family for 7 days. That means 1 gallon of water per person per day, and non-perishable food in case the power is out and you can't use your fridge or freezer, canned food, dry food, and don't forget to get the snacks for the kids. Remember a can opener too, if you opt for more canned options. Don't forget plastic plates and utensils in case you can't use the dishwasher too. Other items to put in your kit: trash bags, baby wipe, disinfectant wipes, and paper towels, all to help clean up. Also, a first aid kit, along with 30 days worth of prescriptions you may need. And cash, batteries, flashlights, and portable batteries are also a must. As we prepare for potential storms this year, many are reflecting on the devastating impacts of last year's storms.
It's up almost 2 feet.
During Hurricane Milton, Kevin Cash's home, tucked away in Seffner, was inundated with water. He and surrounding neighbors say the reason is just beyond their backyards. Lake Shangri-La filled up from unprecedented storm surge and rainfall, causing homes in this neighborhood with no prior history of flooding to take on water.
I've been here 30 years almost. My neighbor's been here 50 plus. Never had it come up that high or have it come up that quick.
He says the solution is to take water from the lake down further to give more leeway for when stronger storms hit, or to put in more retention. Either way, Cash is looking for answers.
You know, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot different we can do. I mean, we've taken all the normal precautions. I've got storm shutters. You know, we dealt with the wind and the intensity of the storm about as good as you could deal with it. What you can't prepare for is the water level to come up 3.5 feet in 24 hours and then not recede for a month. So there's no way we can build a moat around our house or around our neighborhood. It's just not going to happen.
Before Milton hit, the county installed a temporary pump to lower the water level a few inches. But in the days after the storm, the lake rose by more than 3 feet. Hillsborough County refers to Milton as a 100 to 500-year storm event, explaining why infrastructure couldn't handle the historic storm. Residents wonder if this type of storm activity is the new normal.
We're getting once in 25-year events, it seems like every year right now. It seems like around the area and the state. I mean, it just happens constantly. So we're seeing bigger and more intense storms.
The county tells us it has installed permanent infrastructure that includes a pump pad and a force main pipe. And should forecasting extreme weather conditions warrant, the county will begin emergency pumping to bring the water to a low level. It is asking all residents to be prepared and heed the advice of local emergency management officials.
It's a little scary when the water just went down in the last month or so. I mean, I just mowed my backyard for the first time about 3 weeks ago because it was so swampy and spongy back there, you couldn't even walk.
Cash has been retired for the last few years, but cleaning up his home has now become his full-time job for the last several months. Now, he's unsure if he'll stay in Seffner.
It's frustrating. We like where we live. We like our neighbors. We like our neighborhood. You know, we like the overall location. Don't know if we can stay here or not, though. You know, I can't go through this again.
From swollen rivers trapping families miles inland to storm surge flooding people's beachfront homes, we're taking a deeper dive into the hidden risks.
A danger on the road sparking serious concerns. In recent storms, emergency crews have responded to a rise in electric vehicle fires due to batteries submerged in flood waters. Coming up next, we're going to show you the safety steps that you need to know.
Scan the code at the bottom of your screen to get our 10 Tampa Bay Hurricane Guide straight to your phone.
Wow, they call this paradise, a slice of paradise, but the same water that we love to be near can cause big problems. So we're going to take a closer look at 2 types of flooding, coastal and inland, and how they've impacted Florida in the past and what it means for our 2025 hurricane season.
While coastal storm surges have long been a known risk during hurricanes, the inland flooding caused by heavy rainfall and swollen rivers is proving to be just as dangerous, if not more. Hurricane Debbie brought powerful storm surge hitting communities from Naples to Sarasota. The surge pushed seawater into streets, flooding homes and businesses right along the beach. While sea level flooding was severe, it was that inland flooding that left the longest lasting impacts. As Debbie lingered over the state, it dropped torrential rain over central and northern Florida. Rivers, including the St. Johns River, rose dramatically. These swollen rivers caused extensive flooding in areas like DeLand and Orlando, forcing thousands of evacuations. From Helene, coastal storm surges combined with torrential rainfall once again left residents caught between two types of flooding, particularly in Fort Myers and Tampa Bay, where seawater breached flood barriers and beachside properties. Rivers across the state swelled, with areas along the Peace River and Tampa's inland waterways seeing flood levels not seen in decades. Helene's rainfall alone caused flash floods that stranded commuters and cut off access to many inland communities. In Lakeland, streets quickly became rivers, trapping drivers and causing widespread outages. Hurricane Milton turned out to be one of the most devastating inland flooding events Florida has ever seen, dumping record-breaking rainfall amounts across the state. Water poured into the state's rivers and creeks, and the problem was only exacerbated by the fact that these rivers, already full from earlier storms, couldn't handle the additional rainfall. The flooding reached levels not seen in decades. Experts warn that the risk of both sea level and inland flooding is only going to increase as climate change leads to more intense storms and rising sea levels.
So during the 2025 hurricane season, whether you're at the coast or miles inland, we're going to keep you informed and prepared in places in your home you would least expect.
What you're seeing right now is video from Pinellas County, showing an electric vehicle bursting into flames, all from the result of Hurricane Helene's storm surge, which took over coastal communities. Salt water can trigger a thermal runaway, a reaction inside an EV's lithium-ion battery.
Due to a faulty charging system or water intrusion, which causes a short circuit, and then it's really uncontrolled at that point.
This can cause fires that ignite suddenly and burn hotter and longer than gasoline fires.
You have to really dilute it with tens of thousands of gallons of water. And that's a lot of manpower right there. B, that's a lot of water. And C, it's time consuming on scene to be there for many hours for one vehicle fire, which we could have that situation mitigated on a normal vehicle within 30 minutes and back ready to run the next call.
Fire departments across the Gulf Coast, like here in Madeira Beach, are taking lessons they've learned from past storms and applying them to future electric vehicle fires. They're using tools like emergency plugs that prevent the car from being operated, and these fire blankets to help monitor and put out the flames. But there's only one foolproof way to avoid these dangerous fires altogether.
A lot of people, especially long-term Floridians, the last thing they want to do is evacuate. I mean, that's the best thing for you to do. And if you are going to evacuate and leave an electric vehicle, try to put it in a higher area.
And whether it's a car, golf cart, or e-bike, never drive an EV through flood water. If your EV is submerged, do not try to start or charge it. Keeping your car safe means knowing the hidden dangers lurking after the storm. Now let's talk about preparing your home, which all starts with your windows. You may have heard of using duct tape to put X's to hold your glass in place. But if something were to actually hit the window, these X's would create larger shards of glass. Instead, use something like a fabric shutter or rolling shutters. But if that's out of the budget, opt for do-it-yourself hurricane-grade shutters. The cheapest option is plywood. Just make sure the wood is 3/4 of an inch thick. Measure your windows and pre-drill your holes ahead of time to make installation a lot easier ahead of the storm.
Oh, there it goes. Now, when the power goes out, it could be days before the power is restored. So there's a lot you can do now to prepare for an outage. First, get your generator. You want to read the manual and test it. Know how it operates before a storm hits. Second, get at least 2 to 3 days worth of gas to be able to operate your generator. Plus, don't forget safety. Never operate your generator inside your home or inside an attached garage. Find a good place outside with at least a 5-foot barrier so dangerous fumes don't get inside your home. Add up the wattage of the appliances you need to run on your generator. And finally, get a tarp for your generator to protect it from the rain. This will ensure your generator is running with no problem.
If you decide to evacuate your home, watch out for price gouging. During a state of emergency, Florida law prohibits excessive price increases on essentials like gas and water and lodging. Just last year, Florida attorneys general received more than 200 complaints of companies hiking prices as thousands tried to evacuate the state. One report showed an Airbnb trying to sell a room for over $6,000 a night. It's important to stay vigilant, and if you suspect price gouging, please report it to the Florida Attorney General's office. Stay safe and stay informed.
This 2025 hurricane season, are you sure your insurance is ready to protect you? Coming up, we'll let you know what steps to take now to ensure you're fully covered and ready ahead of the storm.
As the 2025 hurricane season approaches, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, is once again on the front lines of hurricane preparedness.
We take them one storm at a time. Only takes one storm to, change your life.
Jennifer Hubbard is the warning coordination meteorologist at NOAA for Tampa Bay. Right now, scientists at NOAA, like Jennifer, are enhancing its forecasting capabilities and adding new tools to help provide accurate information before and during severe storms. A new rip current tool is a major step forward in coastal safety. Using high-tech resolution ocean models, the tool predicts the likelihood and strength of rip currents up to 6 days in advance. That's critical for beachgoers and local officials.
A system that is nowhere near you, not really going to otherwise cause any impacts, but it is going to bring those rip currents along the coast. And while there will be rip current advisories in place, this is another way of highlighting that threat that's out there.
NOAA isn't just focusing on beach safety, but also reminding everyone not to rely solely on a hurricane's category when gauging danger and whether it will impact you and your family.
I wouldn't pay so much attention to the category, but really, again, just those different impacts, because storm surge doesn't really have much of a correlation to the category of the storm. It is more dependent on the size of the storm, the forward speed of the storm, and how long it's been sitting in the Gulf waters, churning up that water.
Instead, NOAA wants the public to pay close attention to watches, warnings, and local emergency guidance. Storms can change rapidly, and so can their threats.
As we know with hurricanes, it can be vastly different from location to location as to what impacts are actually seen, but you need to be prepared for all of it.
It's not just about how strong the storm is on paper. It means taking warnings seriously and leaning on organizations like NOAA to help protect you and your family.
What our mission is to save lives, and so protecting life and property, that is what we are doing every day.
One of the most important steps in your storm preparedness plan is often overlooked: your insurance. Now is the time to review your homeowners and renters insurance policy to ensure you have adequate coverage for wind and water damage. Remember, flood insurance is often separate policy and is crucial, especially with rising sea levels and stronger storms. Before the storm hits, take inventory of your property. Photograph or video record valuable items from electronics to furniture. It'll make your claims process easier later. And don't forget to update your contact information with your insurance provider so they can reach you quickly during and after the storm. By taking these steps now, you'll be ready to face whatever the 2025 hurricane season brings.
Think you know hurricane season? Think again. Coming up, we bust the biggest myths that could put you in danger. For the last half hour, we've been getting you informed of what you need to know about this upcoming hurricane season. And now, we want to clear up some confusion, set the record straight, and debunk some common myths that can put you and your family at risk.
First, it's just a Category 1 storm, no big deal. Wrong. Any Category hurricane can cause major problems. Storm surge, flooding, and tornadoes can still happen, even with lower wind speeds. Don't let your guard down just because it's not a Category 5.
Here's another big one. If I'm inland, I don't have to worry about hurricanes. Wrong. Hurricanes travel hundreds of miles inland with heavy rain, wind, and flash flooding.
In 2024, areas far from the coast were hit hard. So be mindful that you are in the zone, no matter how far from the beach.
How about this? I'll wait till the storm gets close to evacuate. That's risky.
Once a storm is near, roads jam up and gas stations run dry. Listen to officials early. Waiting too long can mean you're stuck in dangerous conditions with nowhere to go.
And finally, the hurricane track is locked in once it's issued. That is not true.
Tracks can shift 48 to even 24 hours out. Forecast cones show possible paths, not guarantees. So stay updated every day and don't assume the storm is going where it was forecast to go yesterday. Things can change quickly.
The bottom line, don't let myths guide your safety.
Have a plan, know your zone, and stay hurricane aware. We're here all season long to keep you informed.
So stay safe, Florida, and stay weather aware right here on 10 Tampa Bay.